Hey everybody, welcome back to Urban Meyer's Pint House. This is Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems, and it was supposed to be a preview for the game.
Yep.
We have a lot to cover in this show tonight, but unfortunately will not be a preview of Ohio State playing on Saturday. They are the East Division champions. They will play next week in Indianapolis.
All right, go Bucks. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do that.
Big Ten East champs.
There was a little bit of uncertainty about that when the game was canceled, but they will play Northwestern next week for their fourth consecutive Big Ten championship. They also did play a game last week that we can talk about. 52-12,
Sure.
They beat Michigan State, but it feels like it was about 7 years ago with all the emotions for this week. That's Cardale Jones, Zach Boren, Anthony Schlegel, Robert Landers, and Bobby Carpenter here joining me tonight. Guys, I mean, the game is canceled. There's nowhere else to start but that. It's a sad day. They've played this game every single year since 1918. You guys have all lived it. You know the importance of it. How did it feel when it was canceled?
Yeah, over 100 years consecutively playing, and so that's pretty amazing to see that happen. I mean, last time it was during World War I, even played the games during World War II, so, you know, it's absolutely unreal. And the reason why it feels so long is since we played Michigan State is Michigan week, like literally as soon as the last game's over,
It's done.
pages turn. Yeah. Like, and it's done. Like a lot of times those things linger, and you may have stuff, you'll talk about the game, boom, it's over. Win or lose. Pages turned, doesn't matter because the next game counts for like 3 psychologically. And so, you know, going through this, thinking of all the things that have been taken away from these guys this season, and now they're losing Michigan, senior day, chance for gold pants, parents out there, like, I know all you guys, you can talk about that and the different moments and experiences you had, but I really feel for those guys, even outside of losing everything else, like, but being able to lose senior day, let alone even not having any fans, but just losing senior day and a chance to play Michigan. And for some of those guys, winning their 4th and 5th pair of gold pants.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about hours up here, talk for hours about how this game affected all of us. But like Bob said, it's, 2020 has been a really tough year on those guys, from having to go home, not being able to be at the Woody year round. Obviously not having fans in the stands, the schedule being messed up. The biggest blow to those guys so far this entire year has been this week. Not being able to play this game. And we've talked about this multiple times on this show. You don't come to Ohio State to play Indiana. You don't come to Ohio State to play Purdue or Penn State. You come to Ohio State for 3 reasons. One is to play Michigan in the greatest rivalry in all of sports. You come here to win Big Ten championships, and you come here to win national championships. That's it, right? Those are the reasons why you come here. And so you take away one of those 3 things, it's tough. You don't get this year back.
Yeah.
Those guys, the senior days, I mean, it's tough. What are they going to do? I mean,
Yeah, it just sucks to see that they can't have those traditions. I'm curious to see if they're still going to go through them same type of processes, the senior tackle. I'm pretty sure the band came in and did the Script Ohio with the guys after the Michigan State game, and the walk through.
Socially distant Script Ohio?
That's a good point.
They weren't Tier 1 personnel, so they were not allowed in on Sunday.
Oh my God! That's even news to me.
Saying.
That's even news to me to see all these tradition-rich things that guys, that the fans don't see behind the scenes that we really love to do, and that's taken away from the guys. I mean, this year it just sucks. You can just blame it on 2020.
I think that's an interesting point that you guys both raised, and Zach, you talked about this being the worst moment of the year. I mean, they had a full-scale cancellation in August, but that's probably easier to take. Like, if you're not going to play anybody, all right, well, it's 100%. Not like the game was taken away from you. They played a season. This is one of the 3 things, Schlegs, they don't get it. You work out. You've been in that strength room with Mickey
I have been.
The Team Up North period and everything that you do for 364 days, so you're ready for that one.
Yeah, so here's the deal. The way I felt like somebody came up and kicked me right in my sack. Like, that's kind of how I felt. And the problem is, I mean, this is the game. This is why it means so much more. Ryan Day talked about it. It's everybody in the state of Ohio wants this game to happen. It's pulling for the Buckeyes. And if you're not, you're freaking weird. But that being said, it's a game to where my wife's on a Zoom, and somebody that she works with, wife, heard about the game being canceled because they were talking about it, and then she threw something and broke it because she was so pissed.
Yes.
Like, that's real. That's what this game means. And then you talk about what it means to be a coach. 1, I played, and 2, I coached in this rivalry. And the difference is, especially for Ohio State, this is 365 days a year that we prepare for this week. It's in the hallway that the coaches walk by every single day and that the players walk by going to meeting rooms. It's in the weight room. It's in the indoor facility. You always know. Matter of fact, it's been 3,302 games, who's counting, since they beat us, right? But we know how many days it is because we don't need to talk about it on the day, on the week of the game. It's something that is talked about every single day. It's Michigan. It's that team up north period where you're working on turnovers. It's 302 push-ups till we play that team up north, and you have seniors, upcoming seniors, talking to the young guys about what it means to play in this rivalry, and that they better drop their sack and attack and dig their fingers into the ground just a little bit harder for their teammate, because that's what it is.
I think one of the biggest things for me is this is the game that you actually mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, as a player, as a coach, as a staff, you commit yourself to. This is the game towards it's not going to happen, but you can lose every game during the season. This is the one game you do not lose. This is the game that you prep for in spring ball when you don't know if you're going to play, you're going to start, anything. But this is the game that you prep for in spring ball. That's a team up north period. That's the worst period of the day because it's 15 minutes. Back when Coach Meyer was coaching, he'd probably restart the period about 5-6 times if the offense wasn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Cardale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like mentally we have prepped for this game over and over again in every phase or every quarter, Coach Mix like to call it, for this one Saturday that you don't get. And I feel bad for the seniors because this was their year to take over and leave a good taste in everybody's mouth, and they can say, okay, I made my print in this game, in history. They don't get that opportunity.
Well, I think this 1 week would have taken away everything that's happened in 2020. If they were to be able to play this game, after that game, it's kind of everything that's happened previously this year, it's kind of gone, right? Yeah. That bad taste is out of our mouth. And, like Schlegel said, you prepare for this game every single day of the year. This is a 365-day thing. You aren't preparing every single day for a national championship game against Clemson. You aren't preparing for a Big Ten championship game against Northwestern every single day. You prepare every single day for this game because if you are ready for this game, you're going to win a Big Ten championship. You're going to win a national championship. This game sets the tone for the entire postseason, and it sets the tone for the entire season as an Ohio State Buckeye.
So the one thing that I was glad that Earl Bruce had passed away, 3 or 4 years ago, because if this game he would have been alive in 2020, this might have killed him. Because I don't know anybody else.
How did he die from a broken heart?
It would have been a broken heart. Like this game.
Hey, I've died from that a couple times.
Because that guy, that was part of the week, him coming in on Sunday and speaking.
Oh yeah.
And there was nobody I know that loves Ohio State football more, who was more passionate about this game and this rivalry.
Buddy.
Exactly. He talked about the Snow Bowl and 50. He'd go through everything.
Don't you punt that ball.
Fessler.
Yeah, exactly.
He relived that thing like it just happened that day. It was so amazing. And so those are the things that, the tradition-rich environment that it is. And it's just because it's something that's been passed down for people from generation to generation. People come back, they continue to talk about it. There's so many former players that are around to continue to always make sure that still feels alive. And that even though that they've won, 2 games this millennia, it doesn't feel that way when you're preparing for it. It feels like this game means so much. We cannot lose. We have to win this game.
I wonder, so much of this conversation now, the game gets canceled, and the next conversation is immediately, or is Ohio State going to play in the Big Ten championship game? Are they going to be eligible for the college football playoff? And that kind of overshadowed what was lost in terms of Cardale talking about the band coming in, Earl Bruce coming in, Zach, you talking about a senior day. I hate to even say it this way, Michigan is not treating the rivalry the same way that you guys all do, and it's hurting it. Because Ohio State is competing on a different level, and Michigan is not in a college football playoff conversation. They're not in a Big Ten conversation. And I know that you don't want them to be good, Cardale, but it helps if they could get it figured out, and if they would treat it the same way. Yeah. They're not doing that.
And that's why they get smoked every year, because they don't take it as serious as we do. Simple. It's not just a game for us. It's a culture. It's a lifestyle. People go to Ohio State, especially the kids growing up in Ohio. They understand the hate that we have for that football program, and they don't look at it that way.
You are what you emphasize.
Yeah.
And they don't emphasize it. They don't emphasize it the way that we do. I mean, honestly, and the reason that we do that, if you think about it, the success that we've had, we don't rely upon the success that we've had. Every year is a new year because
growers.
We're growers, not showers. Exactly.
That's what they're always trying to show. Oh, we're the winningest program.
Oh, look at this! Oh, look at this! Boom! All of a sudden,
how are you going to grow into a college football playoff champion if you're so
lack of blood flow?
It's honestly they've got to change the school song or something because it's pathetic. They're living in the past, and I don't see. And if they let Jim Harbaugh come back, How are
Right,
they ever going to fix it?
They've offered him a deal,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's just to save recruiting or
Well,
if the,
it's because he got some pictures. It's because he got some pictures of somebody in higher power at that university.
I don't know.
Clearly.
I don't know what's
He
going
got
on.
something
Yeah,
he like
You know,
now.
we talked about this last week when we were talking about Harbaugh, and you're right. Michigan doesn't get it. They don't get this rivalry. And I was talking to someone this past week who went to the University of Michigan, and they were talking
In
about
your family or not?
No, not in my family. Outside of my family. Outside of my family. But we were talking about how up there they have kind of turned their focus to Michigan State, and I think it's just because they haven't had any success and they don't know what it's like to fight. And in that program, they don't have the culture to turn things around and say, hey, we have gotten our butts whooped year in and year out. We need to change that. And I think from our standpoint at Ohio State, you can kind of feel the emotion through the media. You can feel the emotion through the team, the walls at the Woody Hayes. When this game got canceled, and even a couple days ago when they said, hey, you're Big Ten East champs, hey, you're going to the Big Ten Conference Championship to play Northwestern, it's kind of like the sails were pulled out, right, from their wings. Yeah. Everyone was deflated because you weren't able to play in this game. And you look up there at Michigan, and they don't care. They're on to the next thing. They're on to contract talks with Jim Harbaugh. They're on to making excuses about why the game couldn't have been played. Yeah. And here it's everyone just feels deflated. Even when you have everything in front of you, from a Big Ten championship to a national championship, all of those things are still alive, and you still feel like there's some deflation because that's how much this week means to the team.
Well, you feel it from the fan base, too. And honestly, they become to where they have accepted the path of least resistance, which is playing Michigan State
And
losing versus us.
Yeah.
Right. Let's put our attention there. But our fan base does not accept mediocrity or losing, and therefore that's why you're hearing it the loudest down here. Right? We're upset. Like, what do you hear from their fans? Nothing. Crickets. They kind of like it. Okay, you know what? We're going to go have the 15th best or 20th best recruiting class. We're going to be average. We're going to be status quo. They can't even do that right now. They can't even win 10 games. So it's a culture problem. Because we talk to Ed Moransky all the time about we'll go up to Youngstown. It was not like that under Bo.
No.
And then you have your best, best spouse picked out in a Michigan man, whatever that means to look like. I don't know. You dress them in khaki pants and are super awkward and drink milk with your steak. I don't know what that means.
Sleeping in kids' houses.
Sleeping in kids' houses, yeah, with your cleats on.
Oh my
But that
God.
being said, like, you're supposed to be that guy that gets it, and somehow they don't. And you have to look at the results.
Yep.
Like, the irony was, if you look at over the last, since really Woody got hired in 51, if you look at the run, Woody had a winning record, Bruce had a winning record, Tress had a winning record, Urban went undefeated. I mean, Tress lost one game. Ryan's undefeated so far.
Yep.
The problem was with John Cooper is everybody made the point like he wasn't an Ohio State guy. And that's why he didn't truly understand the rivalry. The irony is he got hired because he beat Michigan in the Rose Bowl with ASU, so they bring him in thinking he would understand it. And so they're going like, we got to get back to Ohio guys. Ohio people that have either played or coached here, that have these ties to the state and can understand this. Like, they got that guy. He is that guy. And Brady Hoke was that guy too. He was on the staff before, and he's still, like, those guys still haven't figured it out. And now you have a guy in Ryan Day who, outside of being the offensive coordinator, he's from New England.
Yeah. But he still gets it
but he
because it's the
gets-
culture.
Because he was under,
gets it.
Yeah, because he was under a guy who got it.
But
He
that's
was
what I don't
under
understand
Urban
about
Meyer.
Harbaugh. Like, he played under Bo. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Here's the thing. I think this is where the train fell off the tracks a little bit. You had Bo Schembechler who got it. I think Gary Moeller was right after that who got it, was a Michigan guy. Then you had Lloyd Cargo in there who got it, understood
That's
it,
the
went on
son
a
of a
great run.
Michigan man right
Yeah,
there. Being
hey.
able to rattle off the history.
I know. I can name them all.
He's a homework guy.
And then you had Lloyd Carr. But then after that, you go to a Rich Rodriguez who
ruined it.
ruined the entire
ruined
thing.
it.
Where, as in all actuality, they had Les Miles penciled in as a next coach who understood it, who totally got the rivalry, and would have kept that program where it was, but instead it declined. And I think that is their biggest problem, is they never went and got Les Miles, or finalized the deal with Les Miles in 2009 or whatever it was. And then even after going to Brady Hoke, where you think he can understand it, after you still went to Jim Harbaugh, who in my mind can't relate to kids, doesn't understand the culture of college football, and you still have Les Miles there. And granted, he's at Kansas. I know he's not being successful, but at this point, if you listen, at this point, if you are Michigan, we talked about it last week. Where do they turn? Matt Campbell's not taking the
He ain't
job.
going there.
Matt Campbell's not taking the job. Who else do you turn to? You can't turn anyone. In my mind, you have to get someone up there who understands the rivalry, understands the culture, knows what it takes to beat Ohio State.
Here's what they need. It's Ward Manuel. Ward Manuel.
Wait, Ward with an E.
Ward with an E.
I never even knew that
Here's the
existed.
thing. He needs to go to the Urban Meyer School of Recruiting and learn how to start flipping dudes. And maybe he might be able to flip Fick, or maybe flip a Matt Campbell. But you got to be willing to do whatever it takes, Schlegs. Zach
Whatever
knows
it
what I'm
takes.
talking
Yeah,
about.
Zach definitely knows.
What a great segue. That's a professional segue right there. So there's no
You guys on the radio.
there's no rivalry game to start off this holiday season, but it's still the most wonderful time of the year. Talking about snow, talking about cold winter weather, Big Ten championships, college football playoff. Is your furnace keeping you and your home warm and comfortable to get ready to watch those games?
So.
If not, then you need to call Columbus Worthington Air, your local factory authorized Bryant Heating and Cooling dealer. They'll do whatever it takes to make sure your system can handle whatever weather this winter brings. Schedule your appointment today at cwaohio.com. Bryant and Columbus Worthington Air are doing whatever it takes. All right.
Hey, if you're nipping, you're tripping. How about that?
There you go,
Get your
guys.
furnace checked, baby.
All right.
I just came up with a marketing
just-
slogan
get
right
your
there on
I'll
that.
just scribble that one down for the folks at Bryant. We'll make sure that
You're welcome.
Schlegel is charge it to winning.
Charge it to winning. That's free.
All right. So that's unfortunately about all that we can talk about with the rivalry. You guys can bring it up later if you want, but last week's win over 52-12 over Michigan State, shorthanded for the Buckeyes. It was one they needed. Sent a message, I think, to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, which has kept them in the top 4. Bryant Heating and Cooling, whatever it takes, players of the game. Cardale.
Thank you. First and foremost,
start with the
thank you for letting me go first because Bobby took my guy last time. But I'm gonna go with a
Schleg's gonna
curveball.
take everybody.
Yeah,
Him
he's
and
gonna
Boren.
go with 52
I love dudes.
everybody. I'm going
me.
with a curveball. Yeah, for sure. Justin Hilliard was my guy.
Hilly?
Yeah. Only reason. Well, not only reason.
Was
why,
he
because-
recruited in the same class as you? I mean,
He's been there. He's been there a while.
He's got a cute ass.
But I think we played 2 years together. But the thing is about for him to step up for a starter who couldn't play because of COVID, he played really well. And Justin was a highly recruited guy at a high school who I don't want to say didn't live up to expectations, but dealt with a lot of injuries and setbacks.
Yeah, I heard a lot.
And I think he even got another year. It'd be his 8th year in college to play some ball. But
he could still play next year.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So
Freebie.
for him, freebie for him to step in and I don't know his stats, but I was happy to see him out there and didn't see any
5 tackles.
Good for him. Didn't see any plays and big rounds go up in his hole. So I'm gonna say Justin.
I'm shocked you didn't pick Justin Fields.
I was trying to
picked him
go
at-
away
he
from
got
it.
half-
I know.
he got
I try to
halfway
go
there.
away
Yeah,
from
you
it.
got
I
halfway
try
there.
to go away from it because Justin did a lot of great things that I love to see. So.
I normally pick an entire position group, and I would
Then
love.
Schlegel picks the entire lineup.
I know, and I would love to pick the entire secondary because they finally put together a complete game and didn't give up big plays. But I am going to go with Dallas Gant. We talked about him earlier in the week. This is a guy who has not seen much time at all at linebacker. He's played a lot of special teams, but with Tough Borland, 3-time captain, being out, you obviously saw Justin Hilliard, Baron Browning step up, but they really needed another guy to go in there and play with some confidence, run around to the football, play silver bullet, middle linebacker defense, and Dallas Gant did that. He showed up very early in the game, set the tone for that defense. So I'm going with my man, Dallas Gant.
I got 5 people.
Oh,
I
my
mean,
gosh.
honestly, I could.
No. You get one.
I'm only going to do one, so
I'll
I'm
give
going to
you
do.
two.
You get one guy.
I'm only going to do one. I'm
get
only
one
going
guy.
to run. I'm going to say the offensive line. You can't do that? All right, then, Sean
That's
Wade.
bumpy right there.
Yeah, Sean Wade. I said Sean Wade was going to be my Silver
Now
Bowl
it's
player of
6.
the week. No, I'm not going there. I'm
Okay.
talking about Sean. And everybody's talked about, like, we want to see a little bit of swagger. I'll tell you what, here's a fun fact for everybody out there. The Buckeyes have not given up a point off of turnovers this season.
Facts.
That's big-time ball. They scored 38 points off of turnovers. Guess what? That's a positive. Number in the green, that's a go Bucks. Sean Wade, turnover, boom. Another pick. I'm not even going to talk about Haskell Garrett, but yeah, so Sean Wade's my guy. How about that?
Now,
There you go.
I'm
Now
very
you're going to
biased.
talk about
He was
Haskell.
about to steal your guy.
Definitely-
No, I wasn't gonna
know,
steal my guy.
I was about to punch the hell out of him. I'm going with Haskell Garrett. And the reason why, it's not even so much as for the fact that, number one, he scored a touchdown. That's
Defensive tackle's dream right there.
That's the defense. That's a fat
Pick
man's dream.
six, man.
But
His ability to
this is how I look at it.
find the football was
Week
awesome.
to week, Haskell has been playing phenomenal football. He hasn't been playing solid football. He's actually been producing and getting better week to week. And in my personal opinion, me being a trench boy and being biased, it's going to always start within the front 7. The front 7 start with the front 4. Bobby can attest to this. you can attest to this. If your D-line is bad and you got a guard in your face, you're going to be pissed every play. And I feel like the D-line has been, interior-wise, have been playing at a above exceptional level on a week-to-week basis, and they're getting better. Between Haskell and Tommy, they complement each other so well. But Haskell, for me, has been my standout player every week because he's showing up, he's showing out, he's producing, he's providing high value, and he's making an impact on the game every play, whether he makes the stat or not. He's very disruptive.
Every time he goes out, he grows out. I see you, man.
Right.
That was
That's
fantastic. That was big-time ball analysis right there, baby.
It was good.
Come on now. Okay. I'll do this.
So I'm gonna go with the guy, in the backfield, because this running attack, and Justin, believe me, provided a ton of yards. He looked like a young Cardale out there busting those runs down the sideline.
thank you.
So much athleticism, so much quickness.
Hey, who's faster, you or Justin?
Oh, come on.
Oh, my
On
God.
the straightaway, I might be faster.
Oh, get out of here.
I might be
Get out of
faster.
here.
But if we got to change directions, no way. Okay.
He's such a big physical runner, but I'm going to go with Trey Sermon because we finally saw that elusiveness, that burst for him to get through the line, make a guy miss, and then take one, for a nice long gain. 10 rushes, I get over 112 yards, I think, and with 60-yarder. And, that's the thing you want to see is we're getting those holes. Can you make one guy miss and then go? Find it, accelerate to it, and then find a way to cap that thing off. And I think we finally began to see a little bit of that against Michigan State team. You can beat them up when they have 2 wins, but their 2 wins are against Michigan, and then they beat Northwestern, who Northwestern's a good football team. So, it was a pretty good performance there, and I was happy to see Trey Sermon finally get something going. For a guy who transferred in, his season's being pulled back and forth, and to finally kind of establish himself a little bit, it was nice to see.
There were so many guys that were left that we haven't even named from that because it was such an incredible performance with everybody that was missing. Schlegel, you teed it up. You're missing 3 starters on the offensive line. Thayer Munford, you got your center, one of the best, probably the best center in the country, Josh Myers, Nicholas Petit-Frere at right tackle. Boom, you got to put in DeJuan Jones, who is
probably about it. Josh is the best, and he's from Dayton, so I definitely love him.
Okay, there we go. Some more hard-hitting analysis.
And then you had Harry had to move positions to center, so you basically had 4 new starters
and they
on the offensive line.
finished the game with Wyatt Davis injured. He's going to play whenever the next game is. But so you have 5 guys that are playing out of position for that offensive line. They still rolled up over 500 yards of offense. Max Ray, I didn't know if I would ever say his name playing at Ohio State. He's starting at right tackle and played extremely well.
Did.
So all those 4 first-time starters, they all graded out as champions. And then I don't know how you win the game without Justin Fields because Harry Miller did struggle a little bit. It's not an easy transition, not blaming him for it.
I thought it was Jacoby Boren for a second.
Oh, no, leave my dog alone. Leave my dog Jacoby alone.
You're not making an excuse.
I'm taking
He has
the
to
outside
get
on
that.
that.
He has to get
Jacoby
that
taught me a
taken
lot.
care of.
Yeah,
But
and-
Justin covered him up, made him whole. That's what a teammate does.
He used his feet, his hands. He looked like he's playing shortstop. He had plays break down. We didn't have handoffs with Trey Sermon. He just takes off and runs on his own, scores touchdowns. The guy is simply incredible. It's a shame, I think, that he didn't get to play more of these games because he would absolutely win the Heisman Trophy this year. I don't have any question about that. I would take him over Trevor Lawrence. I think you guys probably feel the same.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. His running ability, and Trevor's a really good at. Both these guys, they're very similar. They check every single box with what they can do. Justin's he's got those thick legs, man, and you watched him break some of those tackles. He hits a stiff arm, he's 230 pounds. He's a big dude, physical guy with a nice burst at the end. So Justin, like you said, covered up a lot. He doesn't run much, but when he needs to, they go do it. And that was a game they had to go put him away and show everybody that he's separated. Listen, we're by far the best team in our conference, and they made that point.
They separated because they're down 23 guys where a lot of teams would have folded their tents and say, we're not playing.
They pitched a tent.
They pitched one. Solid.
Growers.
Boom.
Said we're
Right
here.
there. We're here. We're ready to play.
I'm always feel like Justin's is a phenomenal quarterback because a lot of people don't take it into consideration. Last year was Justin's first year actually playing ball. You know what I mean? And then the fact that he was able to adapt and come into a program like Ohio State, especially with our offense, it's not an easy offense to actually be able to come in fresh. And Dale can attest to this. You are the second coach on the field. You know what I mean? So you have to be comfortable.
The first coach and the second coach weren't even there.
Yeah.
So.
Right. So you have to be comfortable with your check downs, making whatever checks that you got to make. And the fact that Justin, like I said, last year was his first year, and then coming into this season in 2020 being what it was, Justin, if we're going to be honest, still has not played a lot of football.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the fact that he's playing at the level that he's playing, in my personal opinion, he is playing more than exceptional for the situation that we've been in. No spring ball, and then you come in, don't know if you're going to have a season, then you start late, and now you're only playing, what, 6 games? 7 games?
Well, it'll be 6 games next week.
Okay, it'll be 6 games.
And then 2 more.
When you normally play a 12-game, for the most part, guaranteed stretch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, Justin, he hasn't played a lot of ball, and the level that he's playing, I feel like he's playing at a very, very high level than what people think he is.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Wish we could have watched him on Saturday, but he's got, as Schlegel said, maybe 3 more games with the Buckeyes this year. We're going to take a quick break and talk about all of that more. We're going to get some more Coors Light, and we'll be back here on Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
Here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Columbus Worthington Air. Find them at cwaohio.com.
Welcome back to Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. We are at Urban Meyer's Pint House. He is Urban Meyer. He has those 7 pair of gold pants that were just up on the screen, 7-0. Urban, there's no other way to say it. I can imagine Tuesday hurt you pretty deep.
It hurt Buckeye Nation, and think I actually talked to Coach Day, and he shared this with a team that, you know, the heartbeat of this great state of Ohio is Ohio State football, and that's really unlike any other state in America because there's really no challenge. I know Cincinnati's got a great team, but you know there's so many people going through COVID, lockdowns, health issues, et cetera, and they couldn't wait to see. And by the way, the game would have been a good one. I mean, this would have been a good day for the Buckeyes, but. So you got to move on. You know, you got to, say the right things, do the right things, and move on. And the culture at Ohio State's elite right now. Coach Day's done an incredible job. And we just got to move forward. And thank God the Big Ten made the right decision, let the Buckeyes get in the championship game.
Yeah, I think that, that part of it, there was so much conversation just about the Big Ten and the college football playoff implications that it almost got lost in the shuffle what the players have been working for, what they lost on Saturday. A gold pants, a senior day.
Imagine that.
Doing a team up north.
No
period.
gold pants.
I mean, that part of it, you didn't start that. I mean, you learned that from Earl, how important to take this. How much of a challenge do you think that would be if you said you talked to Coach Day, if you lost this, and how much it meant to you? And how do you get them to focus then on what's next without you probably spend a day or two wanting to feel pretty bad for yourself?
It would have been really hard if they took away the championship game. And Coach Day will have another opportunity. The juniors will, sophomores will, freshmen will, you will, I will. The seniors will not. Yeah. There's some incredible seniors that have paid a lot of dues. And the one thing about the Wolverine game, that rivalry game, Team Up North game, that's not a big week. It's not a big day. That's 365, 7 days a week.
When for somebody who doesn't know, what is a Team Up North period?
So we started that. Actually, Coach Tressel did that a little bit, and we did it. I think we even advanced it even more that in spring practice we took 10 minutes a day, and I would have all the players grab a knee, all the coaches grab a knee, everyone grab a knee, take a Gatorade, because I expect your eyes to change colors at this next period. That's what I would tell them. If I don't see your eyes change colors, we're going to do it again. And you'd start hearing that song, Time for War. Who's the guy that sings that?
LL Cool J.
LL Cool J. I even have a hard time saying that, LL Cool J.
Did you still have that on the iPod?
I do have it on my phone. And then you go hard as you can for 10 minutes, and I let them grab a knee, another Gatorade, get your breath, and finish practice. But it's intense time, and you got a couple players here who will tell you that's the real deal.
All right, before we let you get back to it and move on to the next thing, Urban, and press the flesh around here, the buyer's auto question for the coach came in, and it was, which one of the 7 meant the most to you? And I know that that's like picking your favorite child. Gigi's getting a little shout-out tonight with G-Fit there, but all 7 of them, I know them are special for you. I remember seeing some of the memorabilia that you would have in the office, the picture of Nate, I think from the 2013 game, and the first one that you got, that one is the last, I think, was that the last one there?
No, that was overtime.
Okay. I know that how much they all mean to you, but if you had to pick one out of the 7, which would it be?
Before you do that, Will and Austin, and how about this? I not much going on in Columbus, Ohio. I was worried walking in here. Thanks for being here tonight. This is really cool. Thanks for our sponsors that support us. This our goal is to make this, at some point, there'll be thousands of people waiting outside to get in, and we'll do this right. We'll do this right. The favorite, John Cooper is a dear friend. Earl Bruce, obviously, is my mentor. And after that first one in 2012, I couldn't tell you, I had a hard time swallowing solid food leading in it because you can't lose that game. You can't lose that first game because you might lose your second game. And after we won the game, the next day, I remember Coop and who, by the way, John Cooper is as good a human being as there is, and a great Buckeye, and Earl Bruce, who passed away. We kind of got together and said, they were the one thing that's really, and I want all the fans to think about this. And hey, Bobby and Schlegel, you know what's interesting about Ohio State? What's different than any other place? You guys mostly know Ohio State. Where else do all the coaches pull for each other? I'm telling you, no, it doesn't exist. And we're talking about in 2012, you have Jim Tressel, who wanted us to win that game big time. You have John Cooper wanted us to win. Earl Bruce. There was no Luke Fickell. And after that game, Coop and Earl was really emotional. Said you got one. The first one's over. Now you get a chance to get two. Really cool.
No pressure, right? You just have to win every single time.
Yeah.
You're used to that. Urban Meyer, appreciate him every time that he comes to hang out. This is his place, and he hasn't kicked us out yet, so certainly appreciate that. We're going to come back with more Weekend Kickoff brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems.
Urban's good.
He's back there. Look at him, man. Not only did he talk to everybody, he's also running the camera. That's dedication.
All right, welcome back to Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. It's the last segment of this week with no game. We'll be back to talk about, Bob, what do you got?
Before we get going on this, since we just had Urban on,
and
talking about getting that first win and how all the coaches are pulling for him, and you failed to ask the best follow-up.
Okay,
that you could have. We talked about getting that first one, and Urban, what's the best part about being 1-0 against Team Up North?
Well, but we already know
Chance to be 2-0.
It's just
why didn't you ask the daggum question, Austin?
I knew the answer. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Hey, throw some BP every once in a while. Throw some BP.
You're right. I should just let you guys host the show. I don't know what I'm here for.
You should have gotten some good stories. Like, hey, Herbs, what was the best celebration you had after you beat the team up north?
Well,
I mean, come on, there's some good questions you could have thrown.
We're like, hey, how do you like dancing at Porn Star Dancing? Isn't that John Simon's favorite song in the locker room? Remember that?
Oh, my God, he loved it.
He must have left that out when he was talking about 2012.
Oh, my gosh. Like, come on, hey, come on. There's got to be some good stories.
Well, tell us what happened in 2012, Zach.
I don't know what he did after the game. I don't know how he celebrated.
What did you do?
Oh.
Buckeyes.
So you expect Urban to answer it, but you don't want to answer it. That's a real.
Urban's is.
2012 was the year that John. I just remember going back
Porn
there.
Star dancing all the time.
John Simon's knee was like the size of this bucket.
Yeah,
and Braves, who did Braves headbutt? He headbutted
Corey Lindsley.
And he started bleeding.
And before we go out on the field, all this music's playing, and I don't know what that. We used to play like rock, all kinds of crazy, all kinds of crazy rock music.
No. First off, it was an Oreo mix, heavy on the chocolate. That's what it was.
Heavy on it.
That's what he
did.
did.
Heavy. I mean, like I would have to throw in.
All type of
I would have to throw in like an old school. I don't even know what kind of rock song it was. Like some. Because I'm older rock, like I like Rage Against the Machine and Disturbed and Kid Rock and stuff like that. Like I don't know what the rock was the kids those days, but it was predominantly rap.
So what people don't know is like when you show up to the stadium, you are on a full-on schedule. Actually, the minute you wake up in the morning, you're on a full-on schedule, right? Well, you get to the stadium at 9:37, so-and-so's getting taped. At 9:47, so-and-so's out on the field, right? Everything is to a T. It has TV time and everything. Well, sometimes in big games, those TV people take a little bit longer than what they're supposed to. And so, team prayer right before the game. Coach Meyer speaks at this time. Well, I remember.
This is time,
Yeah, I remember all this stuff happens in team prayers there. And normally there's two referees that are in the locker room that, kind of usher the team out, right? And they're the ones who are talking to the TV people and the head ref, like, hey, are we good? Are we good? And they're, like, holding it up. And at this point, you're like caged animals, like, ready to go. And next thing you know, it gets a little, not done, but you're like, okay, what is going on? We've been standing here for, like, 3 minutes. We were supposed to be running out of the field 3 minutes ago. Like, our juice. So Schlegel is obviously DJ, blaring some music. And next thing you know, Coach Vrabel gets in the middle and starts jumping around, jumping on everyone. And he takes Corey Lindsley by the helmet. If everyone knows Corey, he was Walter Payton Man of the Year. Yeah, for the Packers this year. literally takes his helmet and starts headbutting him nonstop.
It happens.
Starts gushing blood everywhere. He cut his, like, right above his nose so bad, and he's taking the blood and, like, rubbing it on like war paint.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he busted on the doctors. He's bleeding
Oh, yeah.
everywhere, and they're trying to drain John Simon's knee that's the size of his bucket
Oh, yeah.
so he could go play. That was bumpy. I totally forgot all that awesome stuff.
Braves did not look good that day, boys.
No, he did not. No, he had to get stitches after the game, like a bunch of them.
Coach Hughes trying to get his second pair of gold pants.
No doubt. Let's go.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
That's
There
a
you
good
go.
story, yeah.
All right, boys. We've got some bad news for me
Austin Ward,
Cardale.
this week.
No, that's 3-2. We tied. What are you doing?
Congratulations,
Wow, you throw
Austin.
your boy under the bus?
My bad. I thought it was you.
I can't believe. I don't know what happened. I never thought I would
No,
have to wear this.
you and I.
4-1. That's all that
Well,
matters.
you've had
Hey,
it so
he
many
was
times.
4-1.
4-1. That's all
Yeah,
that matters.
That's what I
how
don't
did that
understand.
happen? Exactly. You and I actually had picks based upon like actual analysis and looking at him. This guy just comes up here with his flashy shoes and a cowboy hat.
That's just the
Goes
thing.
4-1.
I don't know how. I'm
Well, I done
very
went 4-1 the
disappointed.
past couple of weeks.
I can't even wear it right.
Hey,
That's how bad
it's
it
on
is. It's a
backwards.
backwards.
Yeah, you're
You'll be all right.
Ass back.
All right, it's a silver bullet pick segment. If you haven't had a Coors Seltzer like Bobby and I,
If the mountains are blue, this Coors Light is for you.
You can save some
You're
rivers.
welcome.
There it is.
Chargers are winning.
There's the plug. So, running
If it's
out,
nipping, you
running out
tripping.
of
Do
really
it, Brian
good
Heating and
games.
Cooling. Let's go.
Big Ten game, silver bullet pick segment.
All right, sure. There's two
This
of
is
them.
an absolutely terrible slate of games this week. That's why we're still just going with Big Ten only. And we're starting with everyone's favorite program, Rutgers at Maryland. This was the
Maryland.
game that was most likely going to get canceled.
They
so that
would
Ohio
never-
State
they
could
would
play,
never have done
and
that.
they did not. They chose to let Ohio State in with 5 games instead of having them play Maryland. So Maryland, you're lucky you dodged that bullet. Maryland is a 7.5-point favorite over Rutgers. Cardale.
Rutgers. Got
Simple.
Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Leave it there. Rutgers.
I like it. I think 2 is little isn't going to
ain't
act like
2-2.
2 is little
He ain't big two.
anymore. No, going Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Maryland. That's all I got.
That's a lot of passion.
I mean, Rutgers. I picked them versus Penn State to not get beat by 14.
Yeah.
And they got housed. So I'm gonna go with Maryland.
This is the expansion bowl right
Yes,
here.
it is.
Rutgers, Maryland.
This is-
Who's the
we're
best
talking about
in the
Jim
East?
Delaney's legacy. Here it is, folks.
This is it. This is the game everybody wanted. I think Shiano's gonna have these guys fired up, ready to play. I don't think they win, but you give me that half point hook, 7.5. I'm gonna take Rutgers.
BB, what'd you say?
I'm going with Maryland like Schlegel.
Maryland. Crab cakes and football.
You know,
That's what Rutgers does.
I would have
I
lost.
guess a little bit of aioli if you want.
I would have lost a lot of money on a bet that Rutgers would play every single game this year.
How about that though?
Give
I
them
mean,
a lot of credit
yeah,
for what
for
they
sure.
did. Obviously, there's some luck involved in this, as Ohio State found out, bad luck. So I don't know. I'll just chop wood. I've
Chop it.
violated a lot of gambling rules this year, so Rutgers cover 7.5, and if you don't, then I will never ever pick you again. Wisconsin is a 1-point favorite at Iowa. This is a secret, pretty good game here.
It is, and Iowa's been playing pretty good this season after starting off slow. Wisconsin struggled a little bit here the last few weeks. Wisconsin's -1.
Yep.
At Iowa. That's crazy
Iowa.
talk. I know.
I'm gonna take the Hawkeyes.
Okay.
You give me a point, I'm taking the
Yeah,
Hawkeyes.
me too. Between the pink locker room and waving to the kids, it's hard as hell to play there. I learned the hard way. So
Yeah,
I'm going to go Iowa.
Especially when you go lose with to Indiana with their backup quarterback, right? Of which number 12 Indiana, they have a program, they have a culture. I'm going with the Hawkeyes.
I love the picks. We talked last week on here that Wisconsin could run the football, could defend really well, especially going up against a backup quarterback with Indiana. Man, they laid an egg, and they've laid an egg 2 weeks in a row now with Northwestern and Indiana. I just don't see it. Almost seems like this team's kind of checked out, right? What they're known for, being able to run the football, ground and pound people, they're just not able to do this year. I think after last week's dismantling by Indiana and domination, you got to go Hawkeyes.
3 games in a row? No way. Wisconsin. They ain't losing 3 in a row. I got Wisconsin.
Gotta be the
Leave it
oddball,
there.
huh?
That
leave
is
it
your
there.
game. You're picking
there.
that one on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm
picking this straight. It's like it's a
Me
little
and
logic
Schlegel
in there.
going 2 for
There's
2
a little
like a
logic
free
in
throw
there.
this week.
I don't really understand why Wisconsin is favored in this game. On
I don't
the road,
either.
The way
It's
they
at
struggled.
Iowa. They lost 2
Wisconsin.
in a row.
Don't worry about it. Wisconsin.
So, Cardale's on the record. I'm going to take Iowa.
Iowa has given up the least points on defense. They played the most games. They've also played 7. So Iowa and Rutgers.
Would have been interesting if Ohio State didn't get in. Like, they still would have had a nice little potential backup option to play Iowa next week. Although there wouldn't have been a trophy on the line, that would not have been as cool or meaningful maybe to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Minnesota and Nebraska is another game where it looks like an option for Ohio State to potentially play on Saturday. Minnesota has had a ton of COVID issues. I think they're going to be down at least 25 players for this game. At one point, they had 43 players or 43 members of their program who were down.
Must be
in
kissing the same
protocol.
girl.
Certainly possible.
Would know, dude.
They got back. They're going to travel to Nebraska.
You got a bump.
Nah.
Nebraska
Onions.
is a 10.5-point favorite. Huskers.
Nebraska
It is at Nebraska. They're a 10.5-point favorite.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is.
Nebraska.
I'm gonna lay the points. I'm going Nebraska too. Like they played pretty well last week. They seem to have something going a little bit. And Minnesota's been up and down this year. And if they have that many guys out, I don't know if they're deep enough to handle that.
I think I'm gonna row the boat this week.
Woo.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
You should.
gonna
You got a
row the
bunch of
boat
holes
this
in there.
Oh,
I got plenty of ass
BB,
to fill 'em. We good.
that boat's been sinking for a while. Ever since they started out week 1 against Michigan and got absolutely throttled.
Hey.
That boat is not rowing. It's down on the bottom of Lake Minnetonka up there. It's at the bottom.
Cleanse yourself.
Hey,
in the
yeah,
waters.
hey, there is no getting that boat back up. Nebraska's played well. You know, we're kind of still waiting to see what Scott Frost does there. Granted, he's taken a step this year with that program. I think they're going to continue to take more steps. He is on those guys about finishing strong. Nebraska.
Yeah, I'll take the Huskers as well. I don't really feel good about either
And
program
that's all
right
the
now.
games.
There's not. That's not all the games.
Oh, you got two more.
Huge ones left, Schlegs.
For real?
Including this one, which if the Big Ten hadn't changed the rule, we could have been talking about a team trying to play their way into Indy. Michigan State at Penn State. The Nittany Lions are a 14.5-point favorite.
Isn't that crazy?
That seems like an awful lot for the Nittany Lions.
Michigan State. You got mine. Michigan State.
I think Penn State's finally playing a little bit better. 14.5. You said that's a lot. I'm taking those points. I'm taking Spartans.
I agree. Michigan State.
I'm definitely going Penn State. They found something against Michigan 2 weeks ago. They played really well last week. Everyone was expecting them to get beat last week. There was a big spread last week. They finally are able to run the football. That is kind of what they're leaning on. I don't think there's any way. They cover this Penn State.
Is it at Penn State or
It's at Penn State, but Sparty cannot play defense.
There's no fans.
Yeah, I'm going.
No fans, but
I'm
a
going
whiteout.
Penn State. It ain't so much about the fans. That hotel is god awful.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the worst shit
The
you'll
Ramada
ever get
Inn.
in your life.
Actually,
I don't
this
even
year,
know-
because there's no fans, there's a different road hotel. You guys
Oh.
it's a brand new resort.
That's crazy
Oh,
talk.
Wow.
I mean,
that's
you
No
got
more Ramada?
No more
honestly,
Ramada.
all they have in Pennsylvania is sheets.
Well, Sheets is awesome.
That's not. Yeah, whatever.
I'm not a
Take
big
it or leave
Sheets
it.
fan.
That's bumpy. Wow.
I'm not a big Sheets fan. I trained out there. I don't really
Hey, we
like
got
Sheets.
one more game left. It's
All
a
right, go
important
ahead.
one.
They got good slushies.
I need to know why in the world Michigan State was starting Rocky Lombardi.
Thorne looks a lot better, man. When you watch him in there, he's athletic, he can move, and he seems to be much more accurate with the football.
I want to cheat and say if he starts that I would take Michigan State to cover. And I have to assume they're going to do that.
He's
So
going to start.
He's got to play. That's why I'm taking him.
So I'm going to take the Spartans. Okay, the West Division champion Northwestern Wildcats closing out at home against Illinois.
And they're not playing.
What's that?
They're not playing that game.
When did they cancel it? Just now?
Yeah.
They canceled
Like
it today.
All right, we'll
Yeah.
cancel it.
That's what I said.
I didn't hear that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's why you're
Wait,
here to
news for everybody. I mean, this is
Okay.
what we do on
Did
Morning
they
Juice. We just
cancel
break
it?
news.
When they cancel it?
They
Schlegel?
canceled it because
When
they
they
want an
can-
equal opportunity
Yes.
for both teams to prepare for the Big Ten Championship game. Very similar to what the ACC did. Poof, David Copperfield.
I'll let your
Morning
boy.
Juice, 971,
Maybe
69.
Gassity,
Maybe
bro.
Ohio State should just go play Illinois then right now.
They would. Matter of fact, how did you not say this? I thought you tweeted it out that Ohio State would have played that game versus
Austin.
I
Illinois.
did, but that guy
Austin.
didn't say the game had been canceled. He said that they should cancel it.
Oh.
Oh.
Let's
Are you
go
sure
off
it was
for the
canceled?
two bucks.
Hey, there may have been some false reported on 97.1 The Fan, the Morning Juice this morning.
Dude, I was spraying juice all over people the last couple
Hey,
days.
Oh, my
Schlegs,
God.
Spencer just said that the game is happening.
What, it
Game
is?
happening. Hey,
This
Oh,
is great.
Schleg.
Hey,
hey, that's why you come to Lettermen Row
No,
for your
no,
information.
You don't even have
Northwestern.
battery power.
I got
thought
Northwestern.
I
I've
was
lost
almost
control. Let's just pick it and assume
Let's
that
pick
it is
it.
happening.
Northwestern. How many points?
13 and a half.
Northwestern.
Well,
All right, I'll
this
go
turned
last.
into a
Stick with
really
the
great
Schlegs,
closing
stick with
segment
the
this
I'll
week.
go
Yeah,
last.
it did.
Illinois is not good. 13.5 is pretty big. I'm going to take. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm taking Illinois.
Okay.
If you have watched Sparty, or if you have watched Northwestern this year, all of their games have been close. They lost to Sparty. They barely beat Iowa. They barely beat Wisconsin. They have had some very, very, very close games. I know 13.5 against an Illinois team is a decent amount, but listen, Illinois is not good, but there is no way Northwestern wins by more than 13.5. Taking Illinois.
Okay, you got me. You had me at hello, Zach.
I'm gonna take.
So I'll go with Illinois.
Northwestern's gonna be juiced up for this game just because it's like, all right, they've clutched their side of the Big Ten, and it's gonna be like, all right, we're gonna play this game, but get ready for the next game. So they're gonna get ready for an ass whooping. But I'm gonna take Northwestern in this game against Illinois.
Boy, Schlegel, you really threw me for a loop, but there's nothing on Northwestern's account about canceling the game.
Dude, I swear, where did I see that?
I thought I heard that as well.
I might have been dreaming.
I may have heard that from
Might have been a
you.
wet dream,
Peter
but whatever.
Burns
Dreaming or
said
drinking?
that the Big Ten
Probably
needed
both.
to cancel it to make it even.
Maybe
and
that's what
I
it was.
said, if that happened, Ohio State would play Illinois because they want the games.
You're the one who started the rumor about Texas A&M, aren't you?
I don't know, man.
No, that was Sir Yacht.
Go Bucks.
Forget about
Go
that.
Buckeyes.
I'm going to take Northwestern as well. Now tell me your score if the game had happened on Saturday as scheduled. Cardale, I'll save you for last because it'll probably get people pretty fired up. Bob,
Cardale's
it
amazing.
was a 30-point spread in the game.
Yeah, and Ryan said he wanted to hang 100 on him.
Yep.
And with those receivers, I think they had the ability to probably get as close as possible. I mean, could you say 70-6 and feel good about it?
Yeah, you can, because I'm picking 77 to, I think I said 10.
77-10? Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
That's
What
what
do you
I
got,
said.
baby?
What'd you say, Bob? 70
70 to
Ass
6.
beaten to 3. I give them a field goal. That's about it.
lot to a little.
Yeah, a lot to a little.
What do you got? What'd you do?
69-6.
Why would you pick 69?
Oh, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's
For
true.
sure. We put up
Wait.
69 in this game 2 years ago.
That's what I'm
Because
saying.
he's going to keep going for 3 instead of 2.
Yep.
Cool.
52-3.
Well, I thought it was going to be a lot
That's a
more from
good
you,
number.
Cardale.
52-3.
That's a good number. Well,
Nobody
you do got to put in the young boys at some point in time. So
Yeah, 52-3.
Nobody
I'm
picked
gonna stick
100.
with my
Okay.
answer, though.
I'm surprised. I thought somebody might
That's a
pull the
lot of
trigger.
possessions. That's a lot of possessions.
I'm not sure how long Michigan could keep it, but we won't ever get to find out. Unfortunately, that's a sad day. We'll have to drink away and the sorrows for that one. More in that loss of the game. No gold pants, no senior day. The Buckeyes will live to fight another day next week in the Big Ten Championship game. We'll be back here at Urban Meyer's Pint House to preview that one with these guys, Cardale Jones, Zach Boren, Anthony Schlegel, BB Landers, Bobby Carpenter. Appreciate Urban Meyer for having us in here again. This has been Weekend Kickoff, brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time.
OH!